Let's chat about true love. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. Hi, my name is Liz, and in today's video we are going to be chatting about books that made me believe in true love. I've done previous videos in the past where I'm just like recommending different romance books and different romance authors. However, this video in particular, these are the types of main characters and like their love story where I genuinely feel like these two characters are still together even after the happily ever after. I do feel like there's certain romance books where the couple just isn't compatible, or in my eyes like it shouldn't work, and I feel like it wouldn't work long term. In these books specifically, I feel like these couples have gone through so much, learned so much, and I feel like they genuinely do complement each other in every way, and it makes me believe in true love, that this actually exists, and it feels so realistic to me. And I feel like there's a lot of romance books that just don't feel very realistic in that way, especially with the romance itself, because it's like that actually would not work in real life. We're just gonna chat. I have 6 specific books in mind that I want to talk about, because these are the ones that I genuinely just like absolutely fell in love with the romance in the book itself, and I'm excited to chat about them with you guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's video. Starting out, I want to talk about some like actual romance books. So these are romance authors, or they are in the romance category whenever you go into a bookstore. Starting out strong, this is a book that I actually recently read for a reading vlog that I think will come out next week, and that is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I'm a huge fan of Abby Jimenez. Her books, her writing, everything about her books, I absolutely adore her characters. Every single book I've read by her, I have absolutely loved. This one in particular, I actually feel like these two characters would make it in real life, and they actually do have true love, in my opinion. Her female main character, her family is going through a really hard time right now out in California. Her mom has early onset dementia, I believe, and so her family has all come together to try to start caring for her, especially in her final years. So our main character, she is planning on moving out to California, and our male main character, he is a vet who owns his own vet clinic in Minnesota. And the way that they meet, our female main character comes into the vet clinic with her kitten that she found, who needs like a serious surgery in order to survive, and they kind of have a bad first impression of each other. He's very gruff with her and basically says it would be smarter for you to put this cat down because the likelihood of her surviving is very, very slim, and she will be in pain. And our main character, she says, screw you, I'm gonna go raise the money to do this really intense surgery for my cat, and I'm gonna save her. She goes on and does like her own GoFundMe page to save her kitten, and she ends up raising all this money, and our male main character realizes he's wrong, apologizes by donating to her GoFundMe page, and it kind of goes from there. She ends up coming back into the vet, he asks her out, and the rest is history. They end up going on this date together, and it's like the perfect date. And when I say perfect, it's really not perfect, but it's just when you meet the right person, you have endless things to talk about, and it's a very memorable night for both of them. And then he finds out that she is leaving the next day to move to California. He has trouble letting her go, and it just shows how if you have the intention and you genuinely care about someone, how much effort and time you can put into that relationship. I feel like from start to finish you got to see the struggle that they both were going through, because they were both going through very serious things in both of their lives, and there's like a genuine, like legit reason for them to not be together, but they find ways to overcome these obstacles and still be near each other and still make time for each other. And I just loved it. It is definitely one of Abby Jimenez's more emotional reads, but what I love about her books and her writing is it feels so realistic. I feel like these characters are real. If you are wanting just a very heartbreaking love story that is like, you know, long distance and trying to make time for each other while also dealing with your own personal issues, this is definitely the one for you. A lot of romance books, at the first sign of trouble, one of them bails and says, this is too much for me, and that's whenever it feels like, okay, that's not real love. With their relationship, they were constantly putting in the time and effort for each other. And the next romance book, this is one I read this previous year, and that is Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. This is her newest release, and I know she's going to come out with another one this upcoming spring, and I'm so excited. The reason why I feel like this one especially, I felt like I could feel their love and their connection with each other, is because not only did they have great chemistry in person, but also they have this connection to music that they both are obsessed with. They both have this huge passion for music, and I feel like they were able to really bond over that, and it brought them together in weird, unexpected ways. In this book, our female main character, she is a ghost songwriter, so no one knows that she is writing these songs for these really famous singers. She's going through a little bit of like writer's block, and so she decides to move back home to be around her family, where her mom is also dealing with early onset dementia. Oh my gosh, both of these books are so incredibly similar. But she ends up having to move back there, and before she moves back there, she has a run-in with our male main character, who's actually a very famous singer and musician. They kind of have like this intimate moment with each other, and then she ends up leaving, and after that moment when they have that immediate connection with each other, she starts hearing this melody in her head. He also is hearing that same melody, and then they both are actually hearing each other's thoughts. The closer they get to each other, the more this melody is being written and this song is being written, and they're doing it together. And I just really loved their story. It was so unique, and one of the things that Ashley Poston does an awesome job with in her books is she always adds this extra element of magic to her books. So the fact that they are able to connect through this music and this song in their heads, I don't know, just something about it just made their relationship feel deeper to me. And I also loved seeing them come together for a specific purpose, and how he was able to then like see her struggles with her family, and he kind of stepped in and being a support system for her, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. The next book we're going to chat about, this is actually, it's definitely romance, but it also is more like just general fiction, and that is The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young. In this one especially, what I really loved about it is it did have to do with time travel. In this world, our main character, her and her whole family line of women, they have this like curse put on them where they'll be living their life and they'll see this door, and if they go through this door and when they come back, they start to see and hear things that aren't actually there. In this story, our main character, it starts off, she's at her grandmother's funeral, and she is the last remaining descendant of her family, and she's kind of already resigned herself to never finding love, never having a child, because she doesn't want this curse to continue. She doesn't want to have a daughter and her then have to deal with this as well. And she is starting to slowly see things that aren't there, so she feels like she's going crazy, and she's just dealing with this, and she's all alone. One day she gets a letter in the mail from her grandmother, who mailed it right before she passed away, and she gets this locket, and her grandmother is telling her to go through the door. She ends up walking through it, and as she's doing this, it takes her back in time to a different time period before she was even born. And when she gets there, she realizes, I already had a life here. There's a man here who says he's my husband, and you're thrown into this crazy story where she's just trying to figure out what's going on, how she can break the cycle. And I really loved their love story. They're just going through so much together. I loved seeing the tenderness that they had for each other, and even with her not knowing who he is and apparently he's her husband, she has to then fit these pieces together and figure out why past her left him. It was so beautiful, so magical. If you like historical fiction or historical romance, I feel like you would really enjoy this book. And it also was so atmospheric. The writing, it put me in the setting of this book. I felt like I was there with these characters and living out what they were dealing with. The next book we're going to chat about, this is actually sci-fi, and that is This Is How You Lose the Time War. I read this, actually I listened to this as an audiobook this past year, and my one takeaway from this audiobook and from this story is how deeply romantic this story was, and the words that our characters were saying back and forth. In this world, there is this war happening. Both our main characters are on opposing sides. Throughout this time in this war, they are sending letters and messages back and forth. It starts out very playful and like, oh, you tried to kill me, or like, oh, I tried to kill you. And it slowly progresses into more. They start to confide in each other about how they're feeling during this whole war and chaos that's happening. Also, just how mind-bending this world was. Like, you don't actually know what they are. You don't know if they're human. You don't know if they're creatures. You don't know what they are. I feel like since it took that away, I was then able to focus more on their words and what they were saying to each other. It's so deeply romantic. That's all I can say. And the way that they're able to put their differences aside and come to understand, find some common ground with someone, I just loved it. It was so interesting and so different from what I'm used to in my books. It is a novella, so it is a lot shorter, but I highly recommend the audiobook, or if you physically read it, maybe listen to it as you're physically reading it, because it was so enjoyable. I thought that the narrators did a great job bringing this to life. You can feel the longing, you can feel the tension, and like how they just want to be around each other. They just want to have that connection with someone. It was one of the weirdest books I've read, but also one of the coolest and most unique books that I have ever read. The next book, this is a fantasy book, and that is Daughter of No World by Carissa Broadbent. In this story, our main character, she is a slave, and she ends up escaping this manor that she's been working for and flees to this other country where there's this place called the Order, and they basically help you learn and train your magic, and our main character does have some magic in her, and she's trying to seek asylum here and learn how to control her magic, but then also be able to then go travel back to her homeland and free the other slaves. Like, she has this huge plan. She starts training under Max, and so this is their story. It is a trilogy, Max and Tasana. I loved their relationship so much. Max at the very beginning, he's very against being her mentor. He doesn't want anything to do with the war. He doesn't want anything to do with magic. He's kind of like turned himself into a hermit and like rejected society. And Tasana is now asking for his help because he's the only one who can help her. You get to see him slowly go from resenting her to then ignoring her to then understanding her to then respecting her to then caring about her to then loving her. You get to see the full like stages of their relationship. It felt like they truly knew each other at a core level. There was one quote where there is a language barrier in this book. Like, she comes to this country, it's her second language, so she doesn't know it very well. So the way she speaks is very like broken, and Max ends up listening to her and he can hear her say the most like gibberish sentence, and he knows exactly what she's saying because he's like, I learned how to speak Tasana. Starts out of friendship and then it turns into more, and I just loved it so much. I adored their relationship, and this is one of the romantasy books where like I truly feel like they are soulmates. And the final book we are going to chat about today is Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. This is a prequel to Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows, which is her other duology. I will say you do not have to read this before those two books. You can read those two books first and then come back to this one, or vice versa. I don't really think it matters. I think you can have a really cool reading experience either way. In this one, we're following our main character Matilda, and it's actually centering around the gods and goddesses in this world. And Matilda is what's known as a herald of the gods. So that means she can travel the different planes that the gods and goddesses live on, plus the human realm, in order to pass these messages on to other people. You're following her and her relationship with a human man, and they meet as children. She actually is dream walking, so she is in his dreams and experiencing what he's experiencing, and she's helping him through his nightmares. And you get to see them kind of grow up together and form this bond and this friendship and this trust with each other. And then as they are teens, they actually meet in person and realize, oh, you're real, like you're an actual person. And you get to see them start to kind of like pine for each other a little bit. Certain things keep them apart, and then they are able to meet in their adulthood, and you get to see how jaded they both have become now after so much time has passed, and you get to see them come back together and rebuild that foundation that they had originally. I love Rebecca Ross's writing so much. It's so romantic and poetic. I can feel the yearning within her books and her characters. And those are the 6 books that I truly think made me believe in true love, that they made me fall in love with these characters and their love stories all in one go. These were such memorable love stories for me. Like, I still think about it. It still lingers in the back of my head. And I think if you were looking for a romance book or a love story that just will stick with you and actually make you come to care and believe in these characters and their love for each other, I think these 6 titles are a great place to start. I just had such a fun time with each of these, and I feel like I was able to sit and be present with their stories, and I actually believe in their love stories as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hopefully going into Valentine's Day, you were able to start reading some beautiful love stories of your own. If you were looking for a romance book, I hope that these recommendations were helpful to you. If you have any recommendations for me of other books and characters that made you believe in true love, please comment down below. I would love to hear about some more books that just will stay with you and stick with you, and their love actually feels realistic. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Happy reading. Bye.